Hey, good morning. Welcome. Okay, just had to make sure my mic was on. Good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 414. Happy Sunday. It almost feels like afternoon. I slept so late. Actually, I've been up for probably 2 hours, but I was just laying in bed. My wife wanted to make sure I woke her up at 8:45. She has a bunch of showings today. So, it was like 7 down. I'm going to lose track of time and I'm going to miss, and the bed feels really comfortable today. So I slept in a little bit and usually I don't shower on Sunday mornings. I wait until like later in the day. Too much information, I know. Um, but I did all that and brewed some coffee and just kind of taking it slow because you think Bo sells baseball cards. What a life. How easy is that? It's actually it's more stressful because now like all of my income depends on like selling like actually working. I can't just sit at a desk and collect a paycheck anymore. So I'm up super early, earlier than I was when I had a desk job. I'm working into the night. I'm working all weekend. But yeah, it is selling cards. I'm listing cards on eBay. So it's not like so there's this, but it's mentally draining at times. And today it was one of those. It's like, wow, it's like I've never been one to be like, I just would like to sleep in a day. But now I am because I probably just I don't know, it was like less stress. But now it's like a little more stressful, even though I'm playing with baseball cards all day. But Ken says I can't believe I'm awake for a live episode. Ken, I can't believe I'm this late for a live episode. This is about as late as I'll ever be. Um, so we've got who do we have with us? Wish two, what's up? He is jumping in a live show. He says finally made it for a live show. Ken is in the house. Diego is here. Ken can't believe he's awake for a live show. So I just wanted to review yesterday's Rockford card show, Northern Illinois card show in Rockford. I need to. I've noticed myself like I always call it the Rockford Card Show. Rockford Card Show. There is another card show in Rockford. I've never attended. But there is another one there. But the Northern Illinois Card Show is the Rockford Card Show. But it is the Northern Illinois Card Show, so I just need to make sure I brand it like that. So that's where I was, and I've done this show several times now. I think I did their very first show, which was actually a little. It was in a north of Rockford, in a basically a suburb, I guess is what you could call it. Loves Park. And I think I told the story. We had this nightmare vacation. So if I haven't told the story, Mike and John will probably listen. If they're not in here, they'll listen. So I don't know if I shared this story, but the Loves Park show, when I went there, it brought back some fuzzy memories, uh, because when I was, how old was I? 12, 13, somewhere in there, teenager. We never took like my family was we were like my dad was a homebody, like the definition of homebody. Um, like he until I turned like 12 and we started taking these regional vacations, I don't think he left our county. He went to the furthest my dad went south was to Menards in Kewanee. The furthest west was Farm and Fleet in Geneseo. The furthest east was Sheffield to get his haircut, and the furthest north was Prophetstown to the car show without a D. My dad was into cars. I was into cards. So anyway, so we started taking these regional vacations, like within driving distance, within a few hours of each other. So my mom booked this vacation at this resort. It was in Northern Illinois called Apple River Canyon, I think. And I actually sometimes when I take the back roads when I go visit my family back in Illinois, I'll take kind of the back way and I'll see signs Apple River Canyon. So my mom booked this resort at Apple River Canyon. So we show up at Apple River Canyon, and it is like a resort. But my mom didn't book like it. This was, in the mid 90s, so there was no such thing as Airbnb. So it wasn't like an actual home on the resort. It was basically a trap to get you into I don't know if they did timeshares, but it was something along those lines, or buy a house on this resort property, lake property. So you could go visit this property, and they had, again, another quotation, a hotel on the resort. And the hotel was about a mile up from the resort, and it was in a tray, like a double wide. And that was the hotel at the resort. So we pull in, and my mom comes out, and she looks very upset. And she goes, "This is the hotel." And my dad was famous for his like, that's when he was not happy with something. So there was a lot of on this trip. So it's like, we're not staying here. So we canceled the hotel at the resort, and now now what are we gonna do? Have a plan B on this vacation. So we went to Rockford. So we traveled, I think Apple River Canyon was west of Rockford. So we went east to Rockford. And so my dad was into, and my mom to an extent was into, like stock car racing and demo derbies and that kind of thing. I was not like really. I like demo derbies, but I wasn't into like stock car racing. Well, there was races in Loves Park. And so it's like, okay, let's go to the races in Loves Park. And then we tried to find a hotel, and I don't think my mom really looked hard enough for the hotels in the area, but like everything was booked, which I find hard to believe. But we couldn't find a hotel, so we ended up not going to the races. We ended up driving again. Like, now what are we going to do? So we ended up in Rochelle. So we must have taken the interstate down, and we went to Rochelle. And like, I'm a kid. I probably wasn't a teenager at this point. I was probably, I don't know, 10, 11, probably. So like, I'm pissed off. I'm a little kid pissed off because I didn't get to go to the resort. I didn't get to go to the stock car races, even though I didn't really care. But I didn't want to sit in a car and, you know, travel all over northern Illinois for no reason. So we ended up in Rochelle, and the hook was, well, it has pool. So we stayed, I don't know, Super 8 with a pool in Rochelle. What a hell of a vacation. And I think that was the vacation. I don't know. I can't remember if we went anywhere else. I know on that trip, like, we checked out of the hotel the next day, and we went back home and called it a vacation. And my mom might have taken me to the mall or something the next day. I don't know. But that's so when I pulled into Loves Park to where the card show was being held back in May, I think was the first one. I saw it's like, this looks really familiar. And I'm, God, it was from the Vacation from Hell, 1993 or 4. So who else do we have with us? Jenny joined. What's up? Dan is with me. Good evening to Dan. Mike, there he is, and Matthew. Good. So Mike, if you just joined, yeah, okay. So awesome vacation. Yeah, it was traversing across northern Illinois' back roads. That was the highlight of 1993 or whenever it was. So so I've been doing the Rockford Card Show. That was the first one, and then they did the Rock Church. I can't remember what month was the first one. August maybe. So I did that one. I think and then did October and November. So it's grown. I think they had 60 tables, I think. And so I really liked the design, the layout, I should say, of the show this month. Getting all those tables in. Traffic was great. I started to make a tally. Dan has sleep. Yes, it is late. Sorry. Yeah, for Dan and George is probably already snoozing. You too. Have a good night's sleep, I should say. So, I started to make a tally of, like, I kind of wanted to see what's the age range. Um, and so, like, I'm like where my setup is back of the gym in the corner, which I like because it gives people space and room to dig through my bargain boxes. So I can kind of get a good overview of the show. And so I started tracking, like, you know, kind of the age range. And this show did skew older than what I've seen in the past. Um, but you know, I think typically what I'm seeing at card shows is the 21 to it's hard. What's the TV demographics? I mean, sometimes it's hard to skew 'em, but I'd say let's do 21 to 35. I think 21 to 35 is kind of the biggest cross section. Um, there's going to be less. Well, the numbers are going to skew because usually kids and say we'll just say like junior high and under, they're going to be with their parents who are most likely in that 21 to 40 range. So that'll kind of skew the numbers. So, but I think that 21 to 35 is still kind of that, which is good because 5-10 years ago, it's like there's not enough youth in the hobby, and that's what the 40 and 50-year-olds were saying. And you know, these young adults now who were kids 10 years ago weren't really into cards, and now they are. So that's a good thing. But yeah, I did see some, we'll say 50 and up. Saw more than, and maybe that's because I was paying closer attention, where this was the first time I've really kind of like looked at it and kind of charted. Like I did some tally marks, and then it's like I'm not very good with ages, so it's like I have no idea. And then I started like overthinking it. Like, okay, what what's a good demographic, because card show attendees and television and radio listenership is a little different. So, what's a good cross section? And I didn't really want to overthink it, and then I just kind of gave up. But I still think that 21 to 35 is the biggest cross section. Jenny says I had a blast at the show I checked out yesterday. Met some new people, saw some I knew and haven't seen in a while. Dug through the dime boxes, skipped all the high end stuff. No interest. So I basically skipped, like, as a buyer yesterday. I went in, I talked about it on Friday's show, kind of previewing my strategy was I'm kind of just in it for sales. And if I see a bargain box, a bulk box, and I'll, consider it. And my guy John, who I bought the bulk bargain boxes from at last month's show in Rockford, he was there. He's like, I got another box for you. This was a 5-row box. And so I picked that up. I'll show off what I pulled out of it. And it gave me something to, because my table actually had low traffic in for the bargain boxes. And I don't know if that's on me, if people want to see uh more organization, if it's overwhelming, or if it's just people aren't buying bargain boxes. But when I was talking to John and Mike, they said, some of the bargain boxes were a hit, up, toward their tables. So, maybe they just didn't make it back to my tables, or when they did, they're like, this guy doesn't have any organization whatsoever. I don't have the time to dig through. I did have one customer comment. He's like, "Are you going to be here? How often do you come here?" And I'm like, "I'll be here every month." He's like, "Good, because I want to. I don't have time today, but I want to come back and dig through these boxes." Mike says I didn't buy anything yesterday. Was in complete sell mode. I sold one card for my bargain box yesterday. John did better. Okay, so it was John that was saying his bargain boxes did well. Mike, okay, you didn't. So yeah, you were in complete sell mode. I ended up being in complete sell mode. I like my morning started off super slow. Like I didn't make a sale for probably 30 minutes, maybe you know, the funny thing is, my first sale, and I made sure to make note of it. What's up, Zach? I made sure to make note of it on my, I keep it in a notepad. So if you're a vendor, because I've met like a lot of other dealers are like, I have no idea how much money I made. And I used to be like this, where I would take a set amount of money and then I would just subtract, okay, how much money did I leave with? Oh crap, I bought a few things, and it was all in my head, which I would lose track of various things in my head. So um, the notepad is how I track everything. And like as soon as I make a sale, I'm in my notepad, and and I have each, like, Rockford show November. And then so my first sale was quarter cards, a dollar. And then the next sale, dollar cards. And usually I don't like look through. I mean, that would take too much time for both of us. We're not gonna look through, okay, I sold this card, this card, this card. I don't do that because everything is just, it's my inventory for card shows, so I don't care what in particular card it is. So it's a stack of quarter cards, $8 sale, whatever it is. So I keep track of everything, even the purchases. I made one purchase, which I'll get to. So that's kind of how I track things. And it's super easy, and it's one of those things where if you don't do it, and when you start and it's like, oh, I always forget. It's all about repetition. Like, just do it. Like, I was the same way. It's like, oh crap, I forgot to type in this. The more you do it, it just becomes second nature. So here's the thing. So going into the show, I had a mind, and what I tell, and I actually had a great conversation via Twitter DM with somebody just a few days ago who was going to be set up at a card show for the first time himself. And I said, number one, best advice I can give as a dealer, especially a first time dealer, is set your expectations low. Guess what? I need to practice what I preach, because I go into every show I set up, and I have a number in mind, and I'm upset because I didn't sell. Or if I do hit that number, it's like, well, there was a lot more traffic. I should have made more than that. And I always come out of it like, there's probably only been one or two shows, like out of the 15 I've done this year, where I've been happy with the end result. So I need to practice what I preach. I need to lower my expectations and remember that I'm selling 25-cent cards, and it takes a lot of 25-cent sales to get to some of these numbers that I'm expecting. So I was disappointed with last month's sales, and I made less this month. Um, I think what I was banking on was like selling. I think I always try to build in, like, with my expectations, I'm building in, well, what if somebody offers me for a whole box, which I don't think I've ever had a legit. I'm trying to think. I've had two offers the entire, like, all of the card shows I've done. I've had two offers on bargain boxes. Actually, I've only had one offer, and I've only had one other person show interest. Actually three. Um, one person just said $20, and it's like, no. And he said, well, because I had a sign that says make offers, and he said, well, your sign says make any offer. I said, yes, you are correct, and I decline your offer. I had one guy, and I gave him a really good price, and he's like, oh, we're way off. And I asked him the number, and he didn't tell me. And I said, well, I will work with you. Well, we're way too far off. So his number was probably also super low. Yeah, I get it because I buy these myself. So I think that's the expectation. Like, I always, every show, I think I'm gonna sell one of my bulk boxes. And I've increased. I started doing dollar boxes a few months ago, and I started with just like one row, like a two-row shoebox with a row of dollar cards. And I think that was the best dollar box I've ever done outside of, I did actually sell a dollar box, excuse me, at a show a couple months ago. But it's like the more dollar boxes, or the more cards in the dollar boxes I have, the less sales. And I have like a full 4-row box this month of dollar cards, and maybe sold a dozen, 20. I don't know. I sold hardly any. Most of my sales were quarter cards. So I find that interesting. Jenny says, happy at any card show that I wake up to go to, because waking up to see a sunrise is not something I'll get to do. That's true. Gratitude. I like it. It's a great Sunday morning inspiration. So I need to lower my expectations and practice what I preach, and just go in with it, because it's not just in another thing, it's not just about sales. It's about building relationships with other vendors, which I didn't do a really good job. I didn't walk the room. I was kind of in an antisocial mood yesterday, and we all get into that, but I need to be on my game, and I should have introduced myself to some of the vendors I didn't know. So I failed at that part. I did, you know, I made some connections. So it wasn't all for naught. I didn't completely fail, but a D minus in that regard. So my sales were down. Traffic was great. Traffic was great. And as a promoter myself, it's like I will have vendors when I reach out to say, "Hey, are you interested in setting up at next month's card show?" I've had some vendors say, I didn't make enough sales, and I get it. Like I get it. Um, like my show, just based on the how many have we done now? 8, 9. It's not great. The traffic we get is not great for retail wax, especially now because now you can get it at the store. So people don't want to pay the secondary prices. Get it. Um, Memorabilia doesn't sell well. Uh, like and I think those were the two main things. Like memorabilia doesn't move. I had a vendor, very nice guy, set up at two of my first three shows, didn't sell a thing. Didn't sell a thing. And the first time he's like, this is the first show I've done in like 25 years. I used to do all the big shows. So this was a lot of fun. I didn't sell anything, but I had a lot of fun. He came back. He missed, I think, the May show, and he came back for June. Again, didn't make a sale. And he goes, I really enjoy the traffic. It's just I don't have what people are looking for. And that's fair. Like, I get it. I get it. The Schaumburg show, it's a great show. I'm not going to go back as a dealer because there's already a bargain box guy there, and all of the regulars that go to Schaumburg, they will go. Now, if Schaumburg was closer, I probably try it again, but it's 2 hours away. I have to pay tolls. I have to wake up super early. It's a Sunday, and there's outside variables where, if it was closer, and that's okay. It's not a knock on that particular show. What the people are looking for. I do, but there's already that most of those people know. So they go to him, which I get it. People, I wouldn't recommend, not just because it's competition for me. I wouldn't recommend because a lot of people looking through bargain boxes know that I'm going to be set up at my show in Madison, and I've got 3 tables, sometimes 4 of all these bargain boxes. And people just know that, hey, back of the room, that's where bargain box Bo is. But I'm not going to say, no, you can't set up because I'm the bargain box guy. But if I was another dealer with bargain boxes at an established show, I know from experience in Schaumburg that, the regulars, people are going to flock to the regulars. So that's the thing that I think about through my head is it the audience that don't want to dig through the bargain boxes, or is it just too overwhelming? Do I have and another thing, and I'm not gonna I'm not gonna change my setup as far as you know, I really would like to have my stuff more organized, but it's just not worth the time. Um, for the 25-cent sales, is spending. We've all sorted cards. How long does it take to sort cards? We all know that. There's a lot of time that goes into it. Hell, it takes enough time to just sleeve the cards and put them in boxes, let alone making sure they're sorted. So it's not something I'm going to go back and 50,000 cards sort into teams. I'm just not going to do that because it's just not worth the what is it? The juice isn't worth the squeeze. The juice isn't worth the squeeze on sorting out all these 25-cent cards. So that's kind of like what's going on. It's like I'm just going to keep doing it. I made money. So that's a good thing. I'm like I made money, but I didn't make as much as I thought I would. It's like, well, you made money, so that's good. So and it's not all about the money. Like I said, it's about building those connections and buying. So even though I wasn't in buy mode, I did buy a box from John. And again, I bought the bargain boxes I showed off last month at the Rockford show. So he's like, "Hey, I've got another." He came up to my booth as during setup, and he's like, "Hey, I've got a 5-row box for you. Do the same price we did last time." I'm like, "All right, once we all get settled in, I'll come check it out." I also wanted to make sure I didn't bring much money, and this is another thing I didn't follow my own advice. I didn't bring that much in change. This is this is mind game. This is me on myself. I'm playing a mind game. Is it left brain is playing a game on my right brain. I didn't bring a lot in change because if I had that extra cash, I would be more motivated to buy, but I didn't want to buy. So if I didn't have the money, I wouldn't go spending. Now I could, yeah, say, hey, do you take PayPal, whatever, but that's just more work. It's a lot easier if you just pull out a lot of cash. So by doing that, it also I didn't make enough in early sales, so it took about an hour before I felt comfortable spending, and it was only $60, but spending $60 and still having enough in change for my customers. Matthew says sorting is key. If the cards aren't at least sorted by sport, I'll keep on walking. I really appreciate when cards are sorted by team or brand at least. Yeah, mine are sorted by sport, but beyond that, it's not worth it. And I do know that I'll lose some potential customers because they're only looking for, like, in your case, you're probably looking for Royals. And it's like, do you have Royals cards? It's like, yeah, but they're in one of these 10 boxes. Some of I broke some pro debut. So there's a stack of pro debut. Somebody was looking for 2021 inserts. I'm like, so I just kind of thumbed through. I'm like, okay, here's some 2021. There might be some stuff in there. And I think he sorted through a couple piles and walked away because, it just wasn't sorted. I get it. I'm going to lose customers. But I'm also, how much money am I losing by taking all that extra time to sort? So it's kind of, it's opportunity cost. Yesterday I heard so many people ask, do you take Venmo? I don't even know what Venmo is, but the dealers did. Yeah. So Venmo is basically PayPal, no fees. Venmo is great for, here's the funny thing, Jenny. And I made a comment. Uh, I made a comment about, or somebody made a comment about Venmo and PayPal. When I say like fantasy football, or like, hey, we're splitting a meal at dinner, or hey, Venmo me money for tickets. Um, when I say, do you have PayPal? Like, everybody, all of my friends look at me like I'm an alien. Like, non-card people don't use PayPal. It's like a hobby thing. Um, Everybody uses Venmo. Like, non-card people use Venmo. Like, they know what PayPal is, they just don't use it. Like, I know what Venmo is, I don't use it. I use PayPal. So yeah, so that's funny. It's like non-card people are Venmo, card people are PayPal. I used to sort by team, but it's become way too much time for a few bucks I make. You're a smart man, not spending that time sorting. Yeah, it's just, sorting is just way. I mean, that's why, look at behind me. It's like, it's way too time consuming. So once I did feel comfortable with cash in my pocket, I went up to see John, looked through the box, and I basically, like, I knew what he had from the last box I bought. So I just kind of thought, I didn't even like really, I took the time last month. I really took the time to like look to see, okay, is it worth, and it definitely was. It was, last month's box was amazing. This box was good. Now there was actually something, um so it's basically a penny per card, 5-row box full, most of them not sleeved. There was like hundreds and hundreds of first Bowmans, even some first Bowman chromes. So I've got those. I ended up sorting through. So when I went back to sit at my booth, I was sorting, okay, what am I going to list on eBay? What can I the scanner, because the chrome cards don't go through the scanner. So I put those aside. So I set that. So then last night I really dug in, and I found something. There was, in the back of one of the rows, was a bag of 1964 Topps coins. There was, mic on mute there. My wife's leaving. No huge names. Frank Robinson, Harmon Killebrew, and Brooks Robinson are in there. And they're kind of banged up and, stains. But there's like 25 of them. And so that was worth the $60 alone just in those Topps coins. So those are now in my eBay store. A couple cards so I listed a bunch. I listed those coins. I listed Baseball Brit, Allen and Ginter Chrome Refractor, uh, that sold it for $250, paid a penny. Christian Javier, that sold for $1.50 already. Anthony Volpe Chrome sold for $2, so that's what, $6 right there in sales out of the penny box. And then there was some other. This is another one that Leover Peguero. It's actually a first Bowman, but it just doesn't say it. So you'll find these a lot in the boxes, and it's a few bucks. Some other like Logan Gilbert Chrome Refractor. So just stuff like that. There was a Strasburg Ginter Chrome Refractor. So there were some refractors. There were some first chromes like Jordan Yamamoto, Owen Miller, Edward Cabrera. He's a top prospect for the Marlins. He's a pitcher though. Genesis Cabrera and Brewer Hicklin. So some good stuff. I pulled out last night. So when I was really doing the deep down sorting and pulling stuff, I set aside like 800 to 1,000. So tomorrow, I've got a lot of stuff to ship. But tomorrow is I'm pushing to do the 500 listings in one day, which I can. The only thing that's slowing me down making that happen is having 500 cards ready to be listed. That's what's slowing me down. But I've been doing 250, 300, just, pulling piles at a time and listing. So I know 500 is very feasible. So, I've got maybe 1,000 cards pulled from that box that I'm going to put in because I want to see how many of those cards can I sell and what's the profit going to be on that $60 box just from initial sales. I'm going to go back to the chat because I want to show off a trade as well. I did do one trade. Mike says, so when I start getting bargain boxes ready one of these days for the show in Rockford, would you recommend sorting by teams? I have so many cards around the house that I need to clear out. That's tough. I mean, I don't know. It's very time consuming. Sorting is very time consuming. If you have the time, I would say yes. If you find yourself, I would say try it. If you have extra time, do it. But if you find that the time is taking longer than what you had anticipated, then I would say stop and just throw them in a box. I would say at the very least, make sure they're sorted by sport. Make sure baseball, basketball, football is all in its separate boxes. But if you do have the time, at least try it. If you get a couple hours in and you find you haven't, if you haven't been getting very far in, then take a step back and just throw them all by sport. Bean says, not that you were asking me, but maybe with Bo selling full time spent sorting his time away from eBay, which is number one moneymaker. Exactly what Ken said. So yeah, it's every situation is different. So what I'm doing now, especially now as I'm only 3-4 weeks into starting my business, I've got to scale up and I have hundreds of thousands of cards to list. So my number one priority is getting cards listed on eBay, shipping, and that's my moneymaker. So I've got to focus on what brings in money, because that's what I'm doing full time now. So if it's just on the side, and you've got that extra time, it's more of a hobby than definitely try it out. But Ken is exactly right. DR says, can't wait to watch from the beginning. I wonder if Pogs will ever be cool again. Pogs and Beanie Babies, man, they're due for a renaissance. I don't know when, man. I was never really into Pogs. I had The Simpsons came out with Pogs. I was a huge Simpsons fan. I think The Simpsons were I didn't really get into Pogs. When were Pogs popular? Like mid 90s. Like kind of in that weird, I was in that weird age range. Pogs were kind of cool, but kind of not cool. So I had some Pogs. I wish I still had them. Like I remember getting like I think a tube Simpsons Pogs. I might have to go on eBay just for nostalgia tour of Simpsons Pogs. eBay put the ship date due on the mobile app yesterday. Oh, nice. I did not even notice that. Thanks. It's much easier to start sorting right from the get-go. Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially if you're sleeving. So I think maybe now in hindsight, I just had so much to get prepared for those April and May card shows, because my first show in April, I only had at my Madison show, I think I only had 4 or 5 bargain boxes, and now I'm up to 18. But yes, it's definitely a lot easier to start from scratch as opposed to going back and doing it like where I'm at, which I'm learning with my Cubs collection. Fourth, I can't remember when, maybe a year ago. But he's like, "What are you going to do?" That's one of the most common questions. What are you going to do when you hit 1 million? And it's like, well, the plan was to organize it, but I don't. It needs to get organized, but it's like 1 million. Like I underestimated myself on that whole thing. Ken says, I admit if it's sorted by team, I'm much more likely to at least stop and look. And I've talked about this before. I think it's the way my mind works. I'm less likely to stop at a booth where it's sorted because I feel that it's more cherry, and that's just how my brain works. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like that, but my brain thinks if it's sorted by team or by year or by product, that it's not worth looking through. And so I typically skip booths that are sorted. I love the chase. I love looking through. That's why Mike will know this reference, the card shop in Freeport. Like his bargain box, just like it's just a mishmash of everything. And I love digging through boxes. In fact, he's going to be the first booth I go to on Friday at the Chicago Sports Spectacular. And I found some great, and I've shown them off. And if you follow me on Twitter, you've seen what I've pulled out of some of those boxes. And I love that chase. So I'm more tempted to go through the singles club at the National, the dollar cards. It's just, it's sorted by sport, but it's just, you never know. You could pull a 70s card followed by a Ronald Acuna, followed by a rookie Acuna, even followed by a first chrome. It's just everything. I love that. I'm actually less likely. And so that's probably what affects my selling habit of not sorting, because I like it as a buyer, and and that's just natural human behavior. We're going to do things that we enjoy from a buy-sell standpoint. Bo just spiked the Simpsons Pog sales on eBay. The most important thing about shows is pricing. Sorting, I care less about. I'll dig. I will not ask what you want on each card. That's my biggest pet peeve, is what appears to be bargain boxes. But then when you pull 10 cards, they go to their phones and look them up. It's like, okay, I don't want these. Don't put $1 per card this box unless marked. Just separate dollar box to price per card in 2 boxes. Exactly. Yep. And it's fine to have dime boxes, quarter boxes, dollar boxes, every other price on your table. Just make sure that, hey, these cards, the non-sleeved cards are a dime. The sleeved cards are a quarter. The top-loaded cards are $1. In Card Savers, they're marked as priced, whatever. Bo, you're looking to flip, and many are looking for their collections. Like you said earlier, not all examples are the same. That's very true. What I found, though, Ken, is when I ask people what they're looking for, and I think this is the difference between me asking and them asking. When I ask a customer who comes to my table, what are you looking for? Typically the answer is, oh, nothing specific, which tells me they're looking for deals. They're the type of buyer that I am at a bargain box. When people come up to my table and before they even look and they ask, do you have any Cal Ripken Jr.? Do you have any hockey? Do you have any Blue Jays? they're looking for their collections or set builders, and I see the guys with their notebooks. I'm sorry, I'm not the table for you. Even by team, like if you're a set builder, even if you have it sorted by team, it's, you have to, it's pretty time consuming for a set builder to, figure out the team and okay, set all that, especially if it's, a huge spread. So that is, so yeah, I'll have, but the difference is people that I ask aren't looking for anything specific. People that ask me are looking for something specific. I understand both ways of thinking. Maybe I'll try and experiment with sorted and not. Yeah, it's you, and that's when the sorted thing goes. I mean, you can have it sorted by team, but then you're gonna have somebody that's holding a notebook that, do you have any 1977 tops? Well, yeah, I probably have all of these teams. So again, like if you can't cater to every collector, so that's, you know, and I know that not having anything sorted, like having 12 baseball boxes, is not good for, anybody with specific wants. Um, but there's a lot of bargain box diggers out there that, I still make enough. And again, it's just not for me, it's not worth the sort. What are your thoughts on the national increasing ticket prices? Will the VIP ticket still be the best? Question. The tickets didn't really go up that much. I think they went up $10. I I have no issue with the ticket increase. I think it's fine. Like I said, they went up like $10. The VIP ticket definitely. I go super VIP. Especially if you're, I mean, it kind of depends on your method of transportation. I've got to look at it differently. I've got to look at the numbers differently for 2022 because it's in Atlantic City. It's a flight for me within walking distance. Is it worth? Because for me in Chicago, I drive in and I have to park my car. So it's like if I paid for parking alone, it's like $75 for 5 days. But if I don't have to pay for that parking, if I'm not driving anywhere, then I don't have that cost. The swag bags, I mean, super VIP, you get two of everything. You can flip those money back on the price of the VIP tickets. If you're into autographs, I'm not into autographs. I sell my autograph tickets. It's kind of, I guess you have to drill down into what you're going to do. If, say, you're not flipping anything, you'd like to have the VIP swag bag, but maybe you're not interested in the autographs, but you're not interested in selling because it is kind of a chore to sell those. Not really, but kind of. It's just there's so many variables that go into it. In Chicago, I'm super VIP because of mainly the parking, and I do like the double swag bag because I flip that and I sell the autographs, so I basically pay for everything back on that super VIP ticket. But I definitely think some people buy VIP just for the 30 minutes early entrance. That's not much of a selling point for me. I think I only utilize the early entrance once out of the 5 day is it 5 days? 5 days. It is nice. I think the very first day it's like 2 hours. You get like 2 hours before general admission, so that was good. I did utilize that. You get the lounge. There's some free autographs. I did get, who did I get? Cecil Fielder. So it's just one of those things, and I'll have to look at it like because I have to look at like the hotel and all that. So I'll still likely go VIP, but will I go super VIP? The reason I go super VIP is because of the parking. VIP doesn't get those parking passes, but super VIP does. So that's the main reason in Chicago I get the super VIP package. Let's see, where are we at here? Let's see. For some reason, when I scroll down, it just screws up everything. I say looking for nothing specific, even though I am. Jenny says, whenever I say twins, I get either 87 tops or a 1-of-1 Rosario for $500. I say I have so many twins. They say I got tons of puckets. But this is great conversation. I told Brad that he needed to stop trying to appeal to everyone. It's a losing battle. Yeah, if the more you spread yourself out, you've got to narrow your focus. Um, uh, because if you try to, and that's a great point, like trying to appeal to everyone. Um, what I'm learning, and that's a great point to where I'm at a couple weeks into my sales. Um, I'm still seeing baseball sales, which I thought would be dead. Now, I'm not, I think you're getting discounts on prospects right now and, some of the rookies, but I've sold about a dozen 1980 Rose cards, literally a dozen in the last week. Because I know it's kind of one of those Jose Uribe things, 90 Fleer, the 87 Tops manager card. I just happen to have like 100 of them. And I had them easily accessible. And I'm like, hey, this is fun. So they're 99 cents and I've had some sales. But what I found, and I talked about this on an earlier episode this week, basketball is super soft. Football is super soft. I don't know those markets. Even though it's in season, I'm not. My strategy over the summer was, hey, I'm going to buy all these bulk boxes of basketball rookies. One of these guys gets hot, boom. And that did happen with Jordan Poole. I moved most of my Jordan Poole stuff. But the other stuff, probably not a very good investment. But I did buy a lot of the bulk boxes at, pennies per card. So it's not like I have a ton of money wrapped up into it, a couple $100. But what I'm finding is these cards aren't selling for what I thought they would sell for. But baseball are also not selling what I thought they would sell for. They're selling for more than what I thought they would sell for. So I think I'm just going to, like Ken said, I'm just not going to appeal to football and basketball. I'm going to narrow that focus, and I know what sells for baseball. I can go through bargain boxes and I know that this card will sell for $2. And if I can get it for 25 cents, some people that aren't like living in this world will think, well, you're doing all that work for $1. I'm doing it consistently, hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands and thousands. The less you get, it's, even though it's in a 25-cent box, I'm probably buying it for, at most 20 cents, or, sometimes, if it's a quarter box and I buy it in bulk, it's a penny. So, I can pick through and it's like, okay, if there's enough cards I know that'll sell for $2-3, I'm in. So yeah. So like Ken said, like within the last 2 weeks, the baseball card market, what I'm seeing is like this. Yeah, there's some, but what we're seeing in football and with Luka and Mahomes specifically, and these are high dollar cards, and I'm not focused on high dollar cards. I'm the bargain box guy. But I'm seeing that down into the dollar cards, where some of these rookie cards, like Prism rookie cards in particular for basketball, where, I mean, a year ago, like every basketball rookie was floor $3 all the, and now it's like, man, I'm keeping all my Prism basketball rookies on the side unless it's Jordan Poole or, a bigger name. I have some James Wiseman. He's still hurt. He's not back from injury yet. So I'm just like setting these aside because, I think there's potential in those markets. But if it's Luminance, Chronicles, Donruss, the rated rookies still sell, but some of that stuff, it's just, market's so soft. Even though it's in season, it's like, I'm gonna focus on baseball, and I know that market, and that's where the money can be made. Where, I'm with football and basketball, it's almost like I'm trying to not drown. Like I'm like trying to keep my head above water by expanding my markets. So that's an excellent point. Let's see. I have a couple puckets going up on eBay soon. Okay, I'm going to scroll, so I'm probably going to lose my spot. Oh, no, it worked. Not 87 tops. I might be inclined. Okay, so that's let's see, my biggest search for twins. Okay. DR says, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Thank you, DR. I'm wondering if I don't have enough baseball on eBay. I've been focused a couple of weeks. Yes. And I've been for the last 2 weeks, I've been focusing on football and basketball. And I have these boxes sorted in like my basketball box. It's like, geez, have I sold a freaking card out of this box? And I've spent, there's 2,000 cards I've listed, and I've sold a dozen. I've sold more than that, but it's just, I don't feel like I'm getting any sales on these in-season sports. Football is actually selling a little better than basketball, which I just, basketball's super soft. So I think I might just like my focus tomorrow. I said the 500 listings in a day, that's all baseball. That's everything and it's specifically what I bought yesterday out of that $60 bargain box. That's going to be, there's about 1,000 cards I have ready to list. So I'm going to be baseball focused, just because I don't see that return on my time listing football and basketball right now. I do want to get in. There's some stuff that I will list, like the card I traded for, but I'm going to finish up, catch up on the chat. Did I miss anything? Okay, no, there. Sold a Travis Fryman numbered to 100 less than 24 hours after I listed it. Some of those, yeah, some of those are I love those wacky sales. My eBay has either been sales right away or sits for weeks. Focusing on eBay sounds like a great idea as well. Might help that average ticket sale rise. I just keep alternating between sports I list, hoping I can pick up some trends next. That's a great point. $15 for Travis Fryman. That's awesome. That's something I would probably put in a quarter box. That's why I look through quarter boxes. A lot. I look through a lot of quarter boxes. Yeah, that's in Ken, that's exactly what I was doing. I was alternating between football and basketball because it was in season, thinking that's where my sales are going to be. My sales trended that direction just because it was new. But lately it's been like more and more baseball. And football and basketball I list just doesn't move. If I do a 500 list, if I say I list 500 baseball cards, I'll move like 15% within 24 hours. Football and basketball, it's like less than 5% in 24 hours. It sits, and then it trickles. But baseball, like boom, like right away, I'll get a huge influx. And maybe that's because, and again, and this is kind of deep diving, maybe that's because I have like 700 followers to my eBay store. I've been traditionally baseball heavy, and maybe a bulk of those followers that get those notifications that, hey, Bo listed more cards, they're baseball buyers. And so boom, they click. And I know, I have some repeat customers that as soon as I list a batch of cards, they come in and buy a bunch. So maybe that's just because my store has been heavily baseball focused. And so those followers get those notifications upon listing, and boom, they come in. So I meant you focusing to baseball on eBay, helping that average ticket sale rise. Yeah. So I'm also prioritizing numbered cards and card lots with PWE. That's something, Ken, that I think I might do with some of these football and basketball rookies that are just sitting. I just might, and in a lot of them say they're Chronicles and Luminance and those. I'm thinking, and I started pulling them together, and then it's like, it's like I have a bunch of these, and it's like, oh, well, here's 2, here's 3, and I didn't have enough. I have them somewhere. I just need to find them. But I think I'm going to do that with the rookies, $5 for 6 rookie cards. And I think I can move. You've proved it that some of those lots sell. So that's something that I might try. I want to get into the trade. I did make one trade yesterday. I had somebody come up and they found it was like I think it was like a Jared Goff, and it was one of those weird relics, like a manufactured relic. So I don't even know what the comp is because I didn't feel it was worth, because it would have had to ship in a bubble mailer, and like, is it worth $5 or $6 to ship in a bubble mailer? Your margins after shipping costs and fees, it's like minimal, although it's probably the same as selling a 99-cent card. But I felt putting it in a dollar box, at least I'm making $1 and not 20 cents, 25 cents. So it was in the dollar box. I had somebody say, will you take a quarter for it? It's like, no, I've got to have $1 on that one, because I don't want change. Number one, I don't want change. If you're only going to buy one card, I don't want change. No, I'm going to stick to $1 on that one. Would you trade? And I'm like, well, maybe. Let me know what you'd trade for it. And so he shows this Jonathan Taylor Prism Black rookie card. And I'm like, yeah, I'll trade for that. And he's like, well, can I pick one more card out? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And so he actually picked out another Jonathan Taylor rookie, which is not as good as Prism Black. It was like a Mystique acetate rookie. And I don't know what those two cards comp for, but they were in my dollar box. So he essentially had $2 cards, $2 in cards, and this comp's at $6 to $8. So I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. So I listed it on eBay, hasn't sold. Maybe he scores a couple touchdowns and it sells today. So normally I don't really trade. But hey, if you're going to throw me a card like this, yeah, I'll take that in trade. So that was my one trade. So overall, great traffic at the show yesterday. My sales were down, but it could have been bargain box diggers just didn't come out. Could be overwhelmed by my disorganization, but had a great time. I was able to talk to some of the vendors, picked up a bulk buy, and then got a lead for a bulk buy. And actually, I'm like because he lives down in that area, and it's like, well, I can, I do this full time now. I can, run down. And it's like, oh, I completely forgot that I'll be heading to Chicago on Friday morning. So I'm going to reach out to him and say, hey, by the way, I'm going to be driving through right past your exit on Friday morning. So I'll check it out. DR says, do you write out a schedule for the week or just go by your gut? That's a great question. I don't write a schedule out. It's just basically day by day. The night before, I have a plan. Like last night, I didn't feel like shipping. I watched, by the stream from last night. It was an awesome discussion. He was going through his 55 Bowman. It was a lot of fun. I love that set. That's, a draw for me. And then Uncle Rich Klein came on. So that was awesome. So check that out. KBO Collections on YouTube. Friday night, I watched some of Dan's interview with Junk Wax Twin Steph. So check that out on Korean Cardboard's YouTube channel. That was some great stuff. I've got to go back and watch Rich and Dr. Beckett were on Hobby Hotline yesterday morning. When those two talk, I can listen like all day. Like I want Dr. Beckett and Rich Klein to just have like a 24-hour stream of them talking. Like that could be my background music for all my hobby stuff. When I want to listen to consume hobby content, I just want to listen to those two. Like I just want to listen to those two, share their memories, share their thoughts on current issues going on in the hobby. I just absolutely love listening to those two. So I'm going to listen to Hobby Hotline today as I ship. So last night, getting back to the point, DR. So last night, I was out in the rec room, had George on the big screen, and was listing, I listed the top coins. I was listing some of the other penny box finds on eBay. And then because I planned on today, like Sunday has turned out to be my big shipping day because I've been doing card shows on most Saturdays. So want to get ahead and do all the shipping today. And then so tomorrow, when I already have my Monday planned out, get all the shipping out today. Monday, I've already gotten last night. I was kind of bouncing back and forth. I was sorting for what I'm going to list this week in eBay, in my eBay store. So that's Monday. So Sunday is shipping. Monday, I've got about 1,000 going to upload to eBay. The goal is 500. We'll see how long that takes. If it's noon and I'm at 500, I'm going to keep going and go from there. And hey, maybe I can do 1,000 listings in one day. That would be pretty cool. So that's Monday, and likely, like I said, there's 1,000. The goal is 500. I think that's definitely doable. And then, using Tuesday as either Tuesday right now is a flex day. It's either going to be, depending on how many sales I make between now and then, shipping in the morning, maybe do another couple hundred of the baseball in the afternoon. So that's kind of how I look at things. I do need to keep on top of shipping though, because I'll be out of town Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I'll be leaving Friday morning for Chicago. and not returning until Sunday afternoon. So I already know next Monday and Tuesday are going to be shipping. The shipping will be the focus next Monday and Tuesday, because I know as the days build up, there's going to be a lot of sales. So my schedule for Hobby Evolution, I will still do a Friday morning show. It may be earlier than 7 a.m. Uh, Oh, actually, it might be 7 a.m. Because the show actually doesn't open until 3, and then I'll probably stop along the way to look at that collection if we can make a time work. So actually, 7 a.m. is still going to work Friday morning. So I'll go live Saturday morning or Friday morning. No live shows on Saturday or Sunday because I'll still be in Chicago. So Monday morning will be a extravaganza, reviewing everything that happened over the weekend. I'm excited because if I look at this collection, possibly do a book buy. My buddy Dave is coming up. He's got some auction purchases I picked up at a local auction that he's bringing up. Some uncut sheets, minor league cards. I'm stoked. So getting those, and then I think I bought a in bulk some 73 Tops baseball, I think. So I've got some of those coming, maybe 72, early 70s. I can't remember. It's going to be a surprise at this point. I think basically it was just that early 70s lot of baseball cards, a bunch of uncut sheets, and I think maybe like some magazines and programs of the Cubs minor league Peoria Chiefs. So yeah, so excited to get those as well. Zach could listen to George read the phone book and I'd enjoy it. Ken says I could listen to Rich and the doctor talk all day. Absolutely. So over an hour, I'm going to cut it. Thanks for tuning in. Great chat this morning. Thanks again to John and Mike, the guys from the Northern Illinois Card Show in Rockford. You can actually see them. They'll be up here in 2 weeks for the Madison Card Show, which is on Saturday, November 27th. I'm up to 53 confirmed tables already. I've got 2 regular vendors who are most likely in, but they're kind of I've got to follow up with them next week. So I'm thinking we'll fill the room at 64 tables. Just kind of depends on what trickles in here. We're still 13 days left. 53 confirmed tables, which definitely exceeded my expectations for this November show, being a holiday weekend and coupled with deer hunting. I have, I think, 4 vendors who are not setting up because of deer hunting. Another 2 vendors are out because of holiday travel. So that's 6 vendors. So I think I'm up to 12 or 13 first timers. So it's gonna be a fun show. I'm excited. It's gonna be great. So thanks for tuning in. Have a great Sunday. Go Bears, and we'll talk tomorrow.